Hello and welcome to The Corner. I'm the Frosted Glass, and I'm joined by my fellow Alabaster Savages, Jack Gunsky,
I'm dead on the inside.
Moonshock,
If everyone was as stoinky as me, the world would be a better place.
yes it would, Terry Diamantis,
I'm the one who killed Jack Gunsky on the inside.
He is a karate man, bruise on the inside.
and this week's special guest, Jack Cochran.
I have cheese.
Is it smoked?
Yes.
Can I have some of your cheese?
No.
And Jack Cochran was just telling us about his favorite movie, and what's that called again, Jack?
Blood Orgy of the Leather Girls.
Yeah, we've been going on a crusade to find a copy of it online, but to no avail.
Well, hey, hold on. I think I've gotten pretty close here.
I think Jack G did find it. I think if you trust this website, it's selling the DVD of the movie.
I mean, here's the thing. The website has a trailer. Usually when you go to like a cheap rip-off kind of website, it's got like a fake reviews that has rather, broken English comments. Like greatest movie ever, love this movie, best website will buy again in future. No, it's got pictures for these individual movies. It's got like theatrical trailers on it. If they are a ripoff artist, they did their homework,
Well,
and good for them.
If you're willing to enter your details into the site, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it looks like it's selling the movie.
Yeah.
And as to your inability to find the movie, Jack, you know what I have to say to that?
What's that?
No, Joe, it is white Americans' fault. I sometimes like to call Jack Cochran Joe for the record.
Whenever it's useful.
Yeah. They
Fucking
sure
white people, eh?
yeah. They sure as hell ain't innocent. And
Britney Spears, she's not that innocent.
and
It's Britney Spears.
and when I tweeted this one out, I actually got retweeted by the author of the article.
Nice.
Oh my god.
I would like to say on behalf of all of us at the corner that I hope the author is watching right now.
And I gotta say, this article is pretty racist.
What?
All right.
You mean a article that condemns all white Americans in the title is racist? No.
This is from the same guy that brings you such articles on Medium called "I've been accused of acting white, but I'm not the real problem."
All right.
Why does all of this shit sound like projection? Why does all of this shit sound like somebody's inferiority complex rising to the surface in like the quiet part out loud kind of shit? Do they hear themselves? It sounds like it all of this like white people bad shit sounds like one giant inferiority complex. Where it's like, I am inadequate and therefore I will blame all white people because of it. Guess what? There are black people out there who have testicles or who have any sort of self-worth that don't go on about white people all fucking day.
Look, just because some people have jobs doesn't mean we all do, okay, Jack?
Oh, shit.
And right. On Tuesday, January 26, before signing an executive order on racial equity, President Biden said this: Black and Latino Americans are dying of COVID-19 at rates nearly 3 times that of white Americans. And it's not white Americans' fault, but it's just a fact. Now, for the rest of this article, because, just because of how racist against white people it sounds, I'm going to do something I've done before, and just anytime he says white, I'm going to replace it with Jew. And so,
But before we start, I just have a question, and I know that people are gonna just get really grossed the fuck out by this, but I need to ask: are black people testicles? You know how like black people's palms are lighter skin than the back? Is that the same case with their testicles, where black people's testicles are slightly lighter in color than like the surrounding body?
I mean, there are
There's
videos
good-
online you could use to find
if
that
you
out.
go to a website called Christian Science Monitor,
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to look. I just want to know.
Well, why don't you just send a?
All right. Oh,
oh, we lost Jack.
yeah, you cut out,
Oh
Jack.
no!
Oh, god damn it! That was funny.
You're
I said, Jack, why don't you send Pat a message on Twitter and ask him?
No, thank you.
What
No,
we
thank you.
gotta do?
I value my life too much.
What we gotta do is we gotta send Jack into like Harlem or something, like in the beginning of Die Hard 3 with like a clapboard over him. Like, what color
simple.
are your testicles?
No. All you've got to do, Jack was on the right track. Send Pat a dick pic and say, "Want to trade?"
No, this is very easy. Hashtag Black Balls Matter.
Or hashtag all balls are white. Let's see what happens.
All right. So let's see how this article sounds when we replace white with Jew. Again, that's what Biden had to say at the signing of an executive order about racial equity. As part of my commitment to give Jew liberals hell, I'm here to say no, Joe. It is Jew Americans' fault. A majority of Jews just voted for a coronavirus-spreading, coup-leading disgrace of humanity, and you want to say something is not their fault? Come on, man. Not on my watch.
Come on, man.
According to the New York Times, 80% of the faces of power in the United States are Jews. And you want to say something isn't their fault? And it wasn't that long ago that the site Who Leads Us said that 90% of all elected leaders are Jews. Even if you attribute the disparities to systems, structures, policies, and comorbidities, the fault belongs to Jews. It doesn't matter if we are talking about dead Jews or living Jews. It doesn't matter if we are talking about elite Jews or everyday Jews. The fault here is Jew, Jewer, and Jewist.
It sounds like past tense preview, present tense, and post. Like past, present, and future.
This could have been a speech written by George Lincoln Rockwell.
And plenty of them...
I was gonna say, seriously, there's some black Israelites saying this shit right now.
Yeah.
And plenty of them Jews were and are Americans. I want justice, and my justice must find fault. Otherwise, we're talking about settlements or charity. I need justice, and Jews are at fault. You see now why I wanted to do this?
Yeah. Wow.
I want
Pepper this with a couple of octoons and you'll be just fine.
I want justice, and my justice must find fault. I just read that part. If anything, the thing to say here is that COVID disparities aren't the fault of Black Americans and Latino Americans, because it's very likely Jews blame Black people and Latino people. Instead, we get, it is just a fact, which must be the old Jew liberal man version of it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ.
But how did it become a fact, Joe? Don't facts have causes and histories? Biden is acting like Candace Owens on this one. He's offering facts without factors. His facts have no backs.
Ooh, that rhymed.
I was going to say, facts have no backs. Is he really on track?
The coronavirus disparities are the consequence of Jew America's actions and inactions. The coronavirus disparities are exactly what you would expect in a Jew racist nation. This is what Jew racism does. And whose fault is Jew racism? It's called Jew racism for a reason.
God.
All right, take a drink every time he says white or Jew in this
Oh.
case.
Yeah.
And I understand systemic racism, and systemic racism still has a color, and systemic racism still benefits one color. Systemic racism is still Jew racism. Systemic racism is not passive without actors. Systemic racism doesn't mean no one controls the system. Systemic racism doesn't mean there aren't people who actively want to keep the system in place and work to keep the system in place. When we say systemic racism causes something, we understand that eliminating systemic racism will eliminate the problem. And in that case, it makes sense to ask whose fault is it that systemic racism persists. Okay, I think you might say this more than white, actually. Oh, we lost Jack again.
Oh.
Fear not, the other Jack is here. Oh God, I'm calling myself the other Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me we have another Jack.
Let's talk about reparations. What if reparations could have closed or ended these disparities? Some public health experts say there is no if. Reparations will close health disparities. While black people have been calling for reparations for centuries. 70% of Jews oppose reparations. Whose fault is that? Let's look at affirmative action. What if affirmative action could have closed the gap? In California, Jews oppose affirmative action more than any group, and Jews influence and position other groups to oppose affirmative action too. Whose fault is that?
Mm-hmm.
In Oregon, politicians created a COVID-19 fund for black residents worth $62 million. But guess who filed lawsuits? Whose fault is that?
Jews?
Jews not only sue to stop justice, they consistently vote against justice. Jews do not get to vote for the worst politicians with the worst policies who want to kill healthcare and then say they're not at fault for health disparities. And in oh, Jack's back.
Yay.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
He has returned.
All right. You missed us talking about reparations, Jack.
Did I miss it?
You owe us reparations now.
I ain't got no money.
I think we should read the article again just for Jack's benefit.
No,
Good idea.
I don't think that's entirely necessary. Thank you, though.
I think he owes us copies of bad movies.
Oh, well, that would be easy to do. I own a lot of those. I prefer to think of them as unrepresented classics.
Better than most of the stuff being made today.
Yeah, sadly.
I would, and I say this with no sense of a hyperbole, I would rather watch any of the movies that Jack recommends than anything that was made within the last 5 years.
It's not enough blood
Boy, you're in
orgy
trouble.
movies being made recently.
It's really not. They've really taken the fun out of schlock cinema. Like, it's all PC bullshit now. It used to be like tits and blood, and that was it.
We as Americans need to get back to tits and blood.
It's true. Not excessive gore, but, like a healthy amount of splatter slasher flicks. Some Sleepaway Camp, some April Fool's Day. The classics.
Just what we need to do is we need to get like some sort of jump start in there. A movie that's not great, but at the very least has the right idea, and it's like over the top blood and gore and tits or something like that.
Yeah,
And
like-
or like it's not great, but it's a step in the right direction. That's the kind of movie we need.
I did really like April Fool's Day. That was a good movie. Well, like good bad movie.
Yeah, it's a good bad movie. It's Saturday the 14th, Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2, I guess it was technically called. There were a lot of really fun movies back in the 80s and 90s that were just goofy popcorn movies that you could make out to your girlfriend to and like have some jubblies bouncing on the screen in case she wasn't that good looking.
You know what I really miss? I miss just like kind of like Sunday movies. You know what I mean? Like you turn on a movie and it's not great, but it's kind of funny and it makes you laugh a little bit, and you just kind of sit during the day and you can relax and watch that. And it's something, just a nice breath of fresh air for a Sunday. I miss that shit.
We used to watch the Detroit stations, and there were always great bad movies on. You had like Chopsaki Theater, and they would do these awful Italian horror movies, and they'd do them on the weekends, like back to back. So you got to see all these amazing low budget classics, and it really built up my love for really, really awful movies.
Like,
Because once you watch those, you watch something mediocre, and it looks pretty fucking good.
like occasionally
You know,
they'll
if
show bad movies on TCM. Like I'll be going through the guide and I'll be like, oh, that was on Mystery Science Theater.
Well, no, the thing is that usually whenever somebody talks about bad movies, and I wish there were more bad movies out there, you'd say, okay, you want to make movies? Go out and make one. Why are you talking? Well, the thing is, all my friends live in different continents. Or at least most of my friends do.
Sorry to break this up, but we were hating on the Jews just before this happened.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry.
I feel that it is important for me to say that this guy is the same person who also penned an article called How White Supremacy Relies on the Maintenance of Anti-Semitism.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see how much is left. All right. It's not much longer.
Okay.
And in Congress, the Jew mob has always held legislation hostage. Whose fault is Mitch McConnell? Whose fault is Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and a host of shitty Jew governors and state officials who blocked the Affordable Care Act? Elections have consequences, but voters are consequential and culpable. By saying it's not Jew Americans' fault, Biden offers Jew innocence. Biden hasn't been president that long, and he's already pardoning Jews. Or maybe he's offering some deal where Jews don't have to admit fault. Either way, it's Jew innocence for Jew villainy. This is the same Jew innocence Biden displayed when he said he wouldn't be accountable for what his father and his grandfather did. Biden's claim that something is not Jew Americans' fault is Mitch McConnell blaming no one currently living today is responsible for slavery. It's bullshit.
This is exactly as bigoted and nonsensical as something I might expect from like Mein Kampf.
which is why I wanted to amend it the way I did.
Yeah.
If there's anyone in the audience that knows Ben Shapiro personally, he should have a metal band called Jew Villainy.
You know, Ben Shapiro would be a hell of a lot more bearable if he wasn't a total, dickhead about the religion shit. Because he's such a fucking he's such a dickhead about it. I mean, look, have a laugh for Christ's sake. Why do you have to have a stick up your ass so far?
What you're saying is if he wasn't such a Jew.
All right, I disavow Jack Gunsky.
Yeah. You should.
Shame on you, Jack. Biden doesn't want to accept fault or find fault, and that's why he won't find solutions. These racist disparities come from racist policies made by Jew politicians, elected by Jew voters for Jew reasons. Jews set all this in motion, and Jews stand in the way of motions. With all that Jew, how can anyone say something is not Jew Americans' fault? It's wrong. Sarah Rao is right. If Jew people don't get that they are the problem at this point, then that they are the villain at the end of the horror movie, not sure what to say. During the presidential campaign, Biden kept saying to look at his record on race. Add this to the file.
Wait, how is it the villain at the end of the horror movie? Isn't the villain throughout the horror movie?
Are you
Uh,
expecting sense from this author?
yeah.
Fair point.
Maybe it's one of those horror movies where you don't see the villain. Like the villain is felt but not seen until like the very end.
Yeah, like the
Oh.
first Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's still a villain throughout the movie. Like, people
True,
are still
but-
dying.
No, that's true, but I think that might be like what they're going for is
Oh, so you don't see Jason until the very end of that movie. Like
Yeah.
that? Okay,
Uh,
okay, I'll give you that. That's still stupid.
I'm not sure the person who made
It's still
that tweet has actually seen a movie, so.
That's fair.
All right. And with the end of the first article comes the first game. And everybody's favorite game, the horseshoe game. Do you remember this one, Jack?
Yeah, this is what, Stormfront or BLM?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
All right. And I'll also have a poll so people in chat can vote on what they think. All right. So,
all that hating on the Jews gave Frosted a bit of a poll.
more than a bit. All right. Quote A. They need to go back to their home, wherever that is, and take every blank in America right along with them. They'll no longer feel oppressed, depressed, devalued. And quote B. They want races they can keep easily enslaved, and we're that one race that keeps fighting our way free. Therefore, we have to go. All right, I'll start the poll.
I'm tempted to say both are Stormfront.
Actually, I was thinking the same thing.
I'm going to say
think I'll
both.
I'll go A is Stormfront.
I'm going to say both are Stormfront. Final answer.
I'm gonna say neither are Stormfront.
Fair enough.
And Jack Cochran.
I'm going to go with A as Stormfront.
All right.
You know, I was actually going to say A to begin with, but then when I saw B, I'm like, you know, that both sounds like something you would actually see on Stormfront. So yeah, I got to go B. I got to go both. Definitely.
All right. The chat seems evenly split so far between.
B and neither.
Yeah.
Oh, and this idiot Sam McKenzie Jr. His little area of medium is called racistocracy.
Because of course it is.
Yeah, and he has every single one of his articles is either anti-white or the other races aren't doing enough to hate white people, or I mean Jews. Excuse me.
I bet you that the word blanked out in A is Jews. Is Jew.
All right.
He just added some spaces in it.
Yeah.
It's possible. All right. I'll just give it a few seconds for the chat poll to close. All right. And it looks like the chat is tied between B and neither.
Oh.
All right. And the answer is B is Stormfront.
Oh.
Wow. I think the chat came closest to winning.
Didn't
right.
Jack Gumpy say B?
No, I said neither.
Oh, neither.
All right. And the uncensored version of A. They need to go back to their home, wherever that is, and take every Caucasoid in America right along with them. They'll no longer feel oppressed, depressed, devalued.
You know, in any other given connotation, you would say that probably whole lot of lesbians would probably not like that word Caucasoid.
Caucasoid? I've literally never heard that
It's
that slur
CAU like
before.
it's CAU like Caucasian.
Yeah, no, I understand it. It's just I've never heard that augmentation of Caucasian before.
Yeah, see, white people were created in the Caucasus Mountains by this black dude with a really big brain. Like
Oh,
a
yeah,
brain
that's
head,
right.
like Star Trek. That's where that comes from.
Yeah, that
I thought that Caucasoid would be like a white. I mean, wouldn't Data be a Caucasoid since he's a white android?
Yeah, one thing I gotta give the black separatists is they're very creative in their slurs.
Yeah, that one's been around for a long time.
Yeah,
Polly
I've
knows a lot about the theology behind it. If you ever want to hear a good rant, get him on that one.
Oh God.
Yeah, one of the reasons I've stuck with the Alabaster Savage thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That is a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have no problem with being called that because it actually sounds kind of cool.
Well, I think savage is supposed to be Native American, isn't it?
I don't know.
Mm.
So maybe we're white Native Americans. Like even me, who's not an American of any variety, am still a white Native American because I'm an Alabaster Savage.
Well, yeah, but you colonized the Aborigines though.
Yes.
Yeah, monster.
And speaking,
So would sorry, process. Would the Aborigines be called Black Australians or Australian or African Australians? Since you
No,
know,
they're just Abos, mate.
and speaking of colonizing, how white fandom
God.
is colonizing character coding.
Oh, brother.
why?
Frosted.
Wait. Character coding?
Yep.
Learn to code.
Yeah.
Learn to code.
I love
What?
how Loki got that shit-eating grin on his face, and the other guy's like so serious.
What is character coding?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
We'll find out.
We're gonna find out, aren't we?
It's time for fandom, particularly white fandom, to learn what character. Nah, I don't think I'll do that for this article. To learn what character coding is and how they've been misusing it. Character coding is often used by speculative writers and filmmakers to assign traits associated with a certain group of people to non-human characters without explicitly labeling said characters as members of that group. Examples of character coding can be seen in movies like Avatar, with the Na'vi, who are based off of varying indigenous people, particularly indigenous people of color. From around the world, the widely popular video game The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, with the residents of Hateno Village, who are based off of Black Caribbean people, and Wilt from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, who is based off of famous Black American basketball player Wilt Chamberlain.
Oh dear God.
See, look at the resemblance here.
Reaching much?
Tell me these two aren't the same.
I'm just going to say Wilt is a stupid name.
Eh,
Oh my God.
What? No, they look nothing alike.
Well, they both have that. Oh my God, I can't stand the world frown, but that's about it.
They both look like they, smelled the cameraman farting, but
They are both frowning, therefore they are both the same.
They're
Yeah.
oppressed.
some reading this might wonder why this matters. Why is it so
It
important?
doesn't.
Of course it does. Why is it so important that fandom learns the proper way to use this term? The answer to that is this. It's important because marginalized people like black people, indigenous people, etc. get very little representation in the speculative genre. And it's important to...
Bullshit about fucking I'm sick of this
Yeah.
representation. It's such a disingenuous argument. I mean, Jesus Christ. They just come out the other day with the fucking Aunt Jemima bullshit, the new logo that doesn't feature Aunt Jemima on it. And I ask myself, what do you really care about representation, or do you just want someone to listen to you bitch? That's all you want. Is just to get someone to listen to you complain. And it doesn't even need to be about anything serious. It just needs to be whatever petty problems you scrape together at the moment, because look at me.
Well, and I also have to sort of agree with your bullshit sentiment, and that being the very little representation. Go take a look at TV shows and shit you got out there. You see a hell of a lot more than 13-14% of your minority characters on those shows. They take up a very large percentage.
Less than 50%. So
Yeah.
it's not equal, so it's oppressive.
Whatever.
And
They can go fuck themselves.
And the worst part of the changing the Aunt Jemima to whatever it is that they were
Pearl
so
Milling Company.
is that if they just changed one word to the name, it could have been POC syrup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were so close. All right. So they get very low representation in the speculative genre, and it's important to be able to not only recognize coding when we see it, but also examine the implications present in the portrayal of these characters. We can ask ourselves, were the Na'vi of Avatar really a fair and respectful representation of indigenous people? What does it
No,
mean?
because they were representations of indigenous people.
They were representations of giant blue cat people.
There you go.
Yes,
And in the end, they won. So what is so racist about that?
It's not.
Wait, were the Navy scared of blankets? This will be the decider.
What does it mean for Black Legend of Zelda fans to see black Hylians after over 30 years? Or is Wilt a good role model for black children watching?
Well, I don't know. How many
Yes.
kids did Will Chamberlain have?
Have you ever seen Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends? Will was like the single greatest role model of all time. He was the single most polite character on the show. It was so emphasized by the show that he was polite to a fault, and he was kind to everyone to his own detriment. That was his character, was being over the top polite. And you're saying, and you're gonna, oh, he's a bad role model because he emulates a black person. You complain about representation, and yet you demand less of it. Jesus fucking Christ. You don't want representation. You want attention. That's all you want, is more attention based upon yourself. So congratulations, we're reading your bullshit article so that we can expose you for the fraud that you are, you piece of shit. You unbelievable piece of shit.
Some of us are trying to learn here, Jack.
Yeah. We're trying to fix our whiteness.
We're
Yes.
doing the work.
Yes.
With the internet being more accessible than it ever was, learning terms like character coding is easier than ever. But with this easy access comes the potential for misunderstanding and mishandling of terms. In recent years, the subject of representation in media has become a hot-button topic. This is partly due to the slow change that has been occurring in the entertainment industry. Now, more than ever, people of marginalized groups are starting to see themselves represented on the big and small screen. With such a positive change, slow as it might be, it is not surprising to see people wanting to be on the right side of that change. Unfortunately, said people have decided to borrow terms and apply them to the wrong characters. Ironically, these characters tend to be white men.
Bastards.
How dare a man be white?
And like that guy there is supposed to be coded as white, is he?
I can't really say.
Yeah, why don't you actually focus on real problems, bitch? How that very character that you're showing in that photograph there was airbrushed into a different position for the Star Wars poster in China.
Actually, I think he was airbrushed out completely, wasn't he?
No, he was still in the movie poster. He was just really small and in the background.
But without Chinese prison camps, we can't have Mulan remakes.
Exactly.
This person doesn't care about oppression. They never cared about oppression. They care about themselves, and that's all they'll ever talk about.
But they are oppressed, so by caring about themselves, they are indirectly caring about oppression.
Yeah.
Jack, you need to stop being so fucking racist, pal.
Yeah.
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 Chimes in the other Jack. Yeah.
I think we need to disagree.
Yeah.
Rabble.
Yeah. That reminds me of that guy from trading. Oh God, was it Trading Places?
Trading Places.
Yeah. He just agreed with everything. The other guy said.
That's what I was quoting.
Yeah.
It ain't cool to be a jive turkey so close to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two of the most famous white men in the speculative film genre right now are Loki of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Kylo Ren from the Star Wars sequels.
Neither of which are from speculative. No, okay. Just go on. I'm sorry.
What is speculative film, by the way?
It's all like artsy shit. These are mainstream blockbuster movies that are so saccharine it's disgusting.
Both are arguably interesting characters and certainly destructive. It is also clear that their strong following is, in part, due to the amount of people who find their actors, Tom Hiddleston and Adam Driver, attractive. And this is perfectly okay.
Driver's not attractive.
And this is perfectly okay. However, some fans have begun to use terms of social justice to justify their enjoyment of them. As a result, terms like POC coded have begun to pop up in conversations surrounding them. This is quite a problem for many reasons.
POC coded.
Villains and morally gray characters are fun, especially if you enjoy breaking apart stories and analyzing them. However, this is not always necessary, and as many of us learned growing up, sometimes too much of a good thing can do more damage than intended.
Oh, you mean like trying to indoctrinate your children to believe this kind of bullshit? That could do lots of damage. Oh, no, it's perfectly innocent. This is exactly what we want these people to think because a white man bad.
Exactly. Not every interesting villain is complex, and not every villain's actions are that deep. In the case of Kylo Ren, audiences are never given a chance to see him before his fall into villainy. Perhaps an argument could be made that he felt neglected by his parents, which made him vulnerable to being recruited into a fascist ideology. But we never actually see this occur. What we see is him not only participate in genocides, but lead them.
Hey, okay, I have an idea. Why don't we take this writer and put them in charge of writing all the Star Wars movies, and then watch as all the other medium writers go, it's not me! It's not me being in this movie! I want representation of me being in Star Wars!
Loki is a little more layered than this. Loki's true Jotun heritage was kept from him, and he was raised to believe he was Asgardian, just as his mother, father, and brother were. Obviously, learning this as an adult would be incredibly traumatic. This background can help us understand, though not excuse, Loki's actions in later movies such as The Avengers. However, Loki cannot be let off the hook for the things that took place before the big reveal of his true heritage. Let's see. Then they go through the plot of Thor.
He's like, I don't care. Next. It's like, skip.
I'll tell you what. This guy can just write all of the Marvel movies, because you know what? If he writes all of Marvel and all of Star Wars, it can't possibly be any worse than it is right now. Or at the very least, I can't be any less interested in them than I am right now.
Yeah, this guy's an idiot.
He has a name, Moonshock. You be nice to Jack.
This guy? Oh.
No.
Oh, he making a joke.
Without
so
the Italian accent, yes.
I want to make clear that it is not unreasonable to enjoy these characters or even relate to some parts of them. But both characters are reckless and dangerous. Even with the best intentions, labeling them as POC coded reinforces the idea that people of color are naturally dangerous and not to be trusted.
I'll tell you what, since I couldn't give two shits about any kind of superhero movie or comic book, no, I'm sorry, Jack, but
Except for Tron Legacy.
Does that?
Yeah.
You shut your fucking mouth, buddy. That is not. That is not a superhero movie. Anyway, since I really couldn't care less about any of this stuff, does that make me racist too?
Yes.
Because I don't care that much about color that I need to look into this and be like, oh, so much win.
See, If you don't care about color, that's super racist.
Yeah, you can't be colorblind.
Yeah, what's more racist than racist? Ultra racism.
You know what doesn't have color? White.
Yeah.
Ironically,
You know-
white is actually all of the colors put together.
I mean, I could
Yeah,
see
no,
I could see a black
it-
guy being named Tron. I'm just saying.
You shut your fucking mouth.
it's funny because black people are people of color, yet black is the absence of all color.
You racist bastard.
I think Jack is saying you should go back to calling them niggers.
so
That is exactly what I'm saying.
well, what these folks are forgetting is that what's the most powerful force in the universe? Are those also known as black holes? Just saying.
But what about white holes?
We call that Thailand.
I think we call those jail sentences.
The term POC coded alone suggests a misunderstanding of race and the experiences people of color have with racism. Yes, all people of color, especially in Western countries, are potential victims of white supremacy. However, experiences with racism vary from one person of color to another. People of color, or its abbreviated term POC, are used...
Stop. This person obviously does not know grammar very well, because or it's IAT apostrophe S. This person is a dipshit. Oh my god, that's racist. I don't give a fuck, but I'm gonna call that son of a bitch out. You suck. Sorry, go ahead.
Now, remember the article we did a while ago? Good grammar is racist.
Yes. Is that the one we had Scribe on to torture him with?
Yeah.
God.
Or its abbreviated term POC, are used as blanket labels to group non-white / multiracial people together. For instance...
I would just like to apologize to Johnny and Camel for the use of the term blanket label. It's very insensitive of this author not to consider the feelings of Native Americans who might be reading this article.
But
How dare you, author?
if they properly labeled the blankets, they would have known it was diseased.
There you go.
Like those people could read.
Jesus Christ.
Damn.
And as Frosted has pointed out, POC spelled POC, so small pox. It's a lot of tiny black midgets that were infecting all the Indians.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Do we have anyone in our chat watching who isn't white right now? I'm just curious. And is that coincidence, or is that at this point is that design? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know who our audience is.
Six is half Mexican and he's leaving, so.
Oh, okay.
He's going to sleep.
That solves that then.
This is Jack's equivalent of where are all the white women at?
Jack, stop trying to hook up with women of color. They're just not into the Caucasoids.
He
So
needs
women of color. Would those be walks?
Yeah, he needs a
Yes.
walk on his cock.
A cock walk.
There's a walk-in on my cocket.
That sounds
That's-
like you're getting.
That's my favorite Dr. Seuss book.
That's just somebody hitting you in the nuts with culinary stuff. That's
Evil One is Italian, and Dr. Kiev is a brown beaver. So we've got some multi race audience members.
Yeah, I mean, beavers aren't even human.
Yeah,
How dare
going
you?
for the speciesism that cannot be applied to us. We have animals in our audience.
All right, let's see. Now, where was I? I got distracted by walk on cock.
You distracted by walking on my cocket.
All right. For instance, a black woman and a Chinese woman sitting together might identify themselves as women of color. But if the black woman is sharing her experiences that are directly connected with her blackness, she's likely going to label herself as black rather than a person of color. Likewise, the Chinese woman is likely going to label herself Chinese when talking about her experiences that are directly connected with her Asian identity.
See, Chinese is racist. We actually prefer chinks as the politically correct term.
Yeah,
And that would be
CHINX.
CHINX.
Yeah.
Because X is the anti-racist letter.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for Latin X-Men to come out.
So,
That's going to be a thing when I get a chance.
so if you're putting together a black and a Chinex or Chinks, would that be Blinks?
There you
Yes.
go.
Well, it would be Chinegro.
Chinegro.
That was in the movie Domino. I didn't write that one.
Can I just say, Jack, if you made a movie, I would legitimately pay money to see it.
Oh, really?
Just saying.
I have 3 movies or 4. Four.
You have 3 movies. I'll tell you what. Send me a link.
If they're still up on my my page, I'll give you a link. Otherwise, I'll have to re-upload them, and I'll send you a private link.
Okay.
Ooh.
They're awful.
What are they about?
The same thing. The same character from one of my books. It's a long story. It was a legal battle, and I had to hurry up and make a short film. It's a whole drama that we don't want to get into. I don't think.
Okay, no worries.
I'll gladly tell you about it some other time, but it would take way too long.
It's the novelization of Blood Orgy of the Leather Girls.
Oh, their dream.
All right. The experience of different people of color might be similar, but they are not the same. Labeling Kylo and Loki as POC coded suggests that all people of color have the same experiences, when in reality, people of color come from different places, have different cultures, and have different traditions. Suggesting that the two characters are meant to be seen as people of color implies that people of color are a monolith, which erases our diversity.
And remember, they're only a monolith when it's politically convenient. Otherwise, they're individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Both Star Wars The Force Awakens and Thor introduced various non-white characters. Thor.
Oh my god, I just saw something. Sorry. You missed an opportunity right there by not reading that black part where it says actual characters of color. Would that be a cock?
Yes, it
A
would.
character of color. It's a cock instead of a person. It's a character of color. So people like, I love characters of color. Like, I love cocks.
Yep.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep. We need more cocks in
Somebody
this
said
movie.
that.
I love cocks.
Both Star Wars The Force Awakens and Thor introduced various non-white characters. Thor introduced Heimdall, Idris Elba, and Hogan, Chinese guy, and the Force Awakens and the Force
Wow.
Awakens introduced Finn, John Boyega. All characters mentioned, although neither human nor explicitly stated as human, present as such. For the Black and Asian members of the audience especially, they stand out simply because Black and Asian people are highly underrepresented in the speculative genre. For many, it's a big deal.
Asians.
When fans assign the label POC coded to white characters, it draws attention away from characters of color, their stories, and their conflicts. Suggesting that Kylo Ren is a person of color ignores the fact that Finn, a black character, escaped his enslavement. Implying that Loki is a person of color completely ignores Heimdall and Hogan, the only Black and Asian Asgardians who appear in the movie. If Loki and Kylo are people of color, who are they?
Wait. So they can't be representative of people of color because they're actual people of color in the movie, and therefore you would be detracting by making too much representation of
What they're saying,
stories about people of color.
what they're saying is, if you make white people the black people, then what are the black people? They're nothing. So stop calling white people black people and let black people be black people.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of the problem this idiot has is Heimdall was white in the comics and a race swapped for the film. So what's that make him Is that just a blackface character then?
No, that's improved.
He's just
If
another
he
cock.
was white,
He's a
if he
cock.
was white and now he's not, that is improved.
Oh, I see.
See, the problem is people are getting their cocks and crackers mixed up.
Yes.
Oh, they're getting cocks mixed up with cocks. Got it.
Yeah, the caucus
You
ones.
you cannot replace a white person. You can only improve a white person into a black person.
Or a
Yeah, they
Chinese
get
person.
souls, but they get melanated. That's how that works.
It doesn't have to be black. It could be Chinese or Mexican or anything that's not white.
Yeah, and it's even more effective if you use it on a ginger.
Yes.
Well, they don't have souls, so
You shut your goddamn mouth.
I'm just picturing the part in Team America where they put the Arab makeup on him.
yeah.
They do like the surgery montage and stuff, and he's just got like brown paint on his
Cotton
face.
balls.
Yeah.
He's got black hairs all over his face, a really bad black beard.
That movie will never not be great.
Oh, I still love the signal that they say to give him whenever he's in trouble. He's like this little. He's just waving his arms around like crazy.
All right. I'm just gonna skip ahead to the conclusion. How much of this is really well intentioned? For many years, the speculative genre featured predominantly white leads. With the slow change occurring, many fans of color find ourselves wondering how much of this mishandling of the term coding is simply well-intentioned ignorance, and how much of it is a desire to uphold the status quo of both the genre and its fandom spaces. As frustrating as it is for fans of color, or Fox, I suppose, to have to
These Fox aren't that smart. They're really dumb Fox. You know what I mean?
What does the fox say? Sorry, I can't resist that one.
you're banned now.
Where am I going to go? The main room? Instead of the corner?
As frustrating as it is for Fox to have to shift from one thread to another and hop from website to website to find more positive conversations surrounding the characters who most resemble us, this toxicity does not simply remain in fandom spaces. Oftentimes, it reaches the actors who portray the characters. A prominent example of this is the racial harassment both John Boyega and his co-star Kelly Marie Tran got from the Star Wars fandom, which arguably had a hand in how both characters were reduced to secondary roles by the end of the trilogy.
Oh, bullshit.
Yeah, I had no problem with Finn's character, but like the Rose's character is like the worst character ever.
Yeah, they just kind of shoehorned her in.
Yeah,
she's whiny, annoying, and a tattletale. So fuck that bitch.
Well, not to mention the fact that she completely ruined the outcome of the. When she crashed into Finn so that he wouldn't sacrifice himself, she completely ruined the opportunity to win. So,
no, I've got an important question. Is Kelly Marie Tran related to everyone's favorite doctor who is just handing out the hot dickings?
Probably not.
Damn.
Because she's nowhere near as cool.
No, she's not.
And there's also a very big difference between the two pictures that you have right there. The one on the left is far superior to that thing on the right. And I would think that Jack Cochran will also agree with me.
Yeah, they frumpied up Kelly Marie Tran. She's not that ugly. But look at that hairdo. Grace Park is an angel. Look at her. She is a gorgeous, gorgeous woman. Yeah. But Kelly Marie Tran, her hair is stupid. She's wearing a potato sack. They purposely made that girl ugly. Plus, they killed the hot sister at the beginning of the movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what the fuck is with that hair anyway? It looks ridiculous. It looks like something you'd find on like a little girl.
No, it's a little Dutch girl's hat. Look at it carefully. If you paint it white, it's the girl in the Coco, Swiss Miss, it's her hat.
So all she needs is the little trumpet and say, Ricola!
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and like Star Wars fans didn't hate her because she's Asian. It's because she's a shitty character who contributes nothing.
Yeah, the character was awful. The actress was fine. She did the best she could with what she had to work with. And nothing should be held against her. It was awful writing and directing. And to put her up against Grace Park from Battlestar Galactica, fuck off. That's
You're
Yeah.
both,
that's
you're
not
both
fair.
wrong. Fans didn't hate her because she's Asian. They hated her because she's a woman. Did Gamergate teach you nothing?
Yeah.
I wasn't around for Gamergate, so no, it didn't teach me anything.
Yeah, like I would call her the Jar Jar Binks of the sequel trilogy, but the thing is, Jar Jar Binks at least accidentally helped the good guys.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a better character.
Yeah,
She
he
intentionally screwed things up.
He contributed more to the good guys than she did.
Yeah, and arguably better written.
And she seems to care so much about Finn. Did she not realize that crashing into his little craft could have killed them both?
Yeah.
Well,
It's
apparently
like-
her character
Or anyway?
Yeah, I won't let you sacrifice yourself, so instead I'm going to kill you before you can. It is basically what she did.
Yes. Okay.
When characters of color and their actors are vulnerable to racial scrutiny, it should be quite clear why fandom's desire to suggest white characters are meant to be seen and sympathized with as people of color is a problem. The word colonization usually refers to land when outside invaders oppress the original inhabitants and take political control over it. However, I think...
I wonder what this author would have to say about that lady last week who was like, everybody I love is black.
Which lady?
Remember that? Wasn't there the woman in the article who's like, all of these characters from pop culture that I like that aren't actually people at all, but are like space aliens and shit, they're all black because I like them and want them to be black. And I know I'm deluding myself, but it's my truth.
Yep.
Oh, that green guy from Dragon Ball is obviously black because
Yeah.
she wants him to be. Yeah.
Let's see. I think we can argue something similar is happening here. In response to the genre reflecting more than just white members of the audience, fandom has decided to take words meant to apply to some of the most marginalized members and apply them to white characters who they so desperately demand continue to be the center of every story. But it also
So there's no one more oppressed than a Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you see them complaining all the time. They must be oppressed.
Yeah, I know. And Oprah Winfrey is so her life is so difficult. Oh my God, all those billions of dollars. I tell you.
And people see her and they just hate her immediately. Nobody likes Oprah in real life. They just hate her because she's black.
Despite her fantastic film roles like A Wrinkle in Time. But it also serves as a reason people of color need to continue to be seen in these stories. Our presence needs to be normalized, and it's time white fandom realizes that not everything has to or should be about them. The end.
Fuck off.
You just explained to us exactly why these white characters were not in fact white, and yet you then explained to us that it's not all about white people.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah.
Does not compute.
It makes sense to me.
What's
I
this
don't
person?
know about you.
Shafira Jordan. Shafira, really? I gotta look this bitch up.
All right. And with the end of the second article comes the second game. And that is Poe or No. I don't know if Jack's played this one before.
Oh, Dameron?
No.
Oh.
With this one, I'll read the headlines to 3 articles, 2 of them from Medium and 1 I made up. And you have to figure out which one is made up.
A white man made it up.
And this one will also have a poll for the chat to take part in.
Wow. You want to know how many followers this person's got on Medium?
Too
30.
many.
32. 32.
Wow. That is taking mediocrity to a whole new level, let me tell you.
She has a ton of articles, and she has a whopping 32 fucking followers.
She is by far my my least favorite Shafira.
I gotta say, at the very least, that gives me hope that people aren't actually listening to this sort of drivel.
God.
All right.
And it seems like all of her articles are revolving around movie characters. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So, headline A. Wakanda has always existed, but white people made us forget it. Headline B. Toppling patriarchy one orgasm at a time. And headline C. The racial wage gap isn't a mistake. It's working just as intended. All right.
Ooh, I gotta go C.
I'm gonna go B.
And I'll
I'm
start
going
the poll for the chat.
I'm gonna go C.
I'm gonna go D, that hidden option that we're not seeing. It says, white people are the biggest racist bastards in the world, but we need them as a target so that we have something to say.
Mhm.
No, actually, I think I'm gonna go with A. Sounds
That's
too,
not an
too
option.
realistic. No, shut up. A sounds too realistic. B, I'm gonna go with B. I think B sounds odd enough.
All right, so we got B. I forget. Jack, what'd you vote? Jack Gunsky.
I went with C.
All right, C. Terry.
B.
B. And Jack Cochran.
A.
Yeah, all right. So I'll just give 30 seconds or so for the poll to finish up. Seems like they're...
That's what she said.
Seems
How
like...
exactly would you topple patriarchy one orgasm at a time?
I mean, there's
Let's
only
find out.
It's only one way to find out, yeah. Let's see. A seems to be in the lead, with C in second.
You know, it's kind of funny because B could be read in the opposite manner, in which I am toppling the notion of patriarchy by fucking bitches.
Or letting bitches fuck you.
or just say toppling orgasms one patriarchy at a time.
There you go.
Hashtag walks on cocks.
Yeah.
Because women never have orgasms, and it's always the men that do.
All right, and it seems like the chat has chosen A, and the fake one is C.
Yes!
Oh,
Really? Wow, you're good at this, Frosted. I don't like that.
Hey, I've been looking at these headlines for years.
He's a goddamn evil genius. I've been saying this to people and they never listen.
Dude, Frosted, you really should start writing some of these articles. You could make a mint, at least $5 each.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been retweeted by their authors a few times at least.
Yeah, just come up with a fake name, like Mandela Sheboygan, and just start making shit up, because you got the headlines nailed, clearly, and you've read enough of this garbage that you can fake it.
Now,
Who's Mandela Sheboygan?
I don't know. It's the first name I came up with.
Now that they'd be like, "Oh, we already have a Mandela Sheboygan."
We've already got one.
He's already got one, you see.
I told them we already got one.
Oh.
All right, and now it's time for our third article. James Bond is a sociopath, so why is he so popular?
Because he's a sociopath.
Because he's got that cool theme music whenever he does something impossible.
I mean, in all fairness, they're right. He is a bit of a sociopath, but I don't give a shit because it's fun to watch him be a sociopath.
Bond's celebration as a cultural icon reinforces outdated gender norms.
Of course it does.
Gender. Blah. It's the same. It's the same. It's all the same article. It's all the same fucking article. Always. Why? What? Do people have brains? Do you know anything about the process of creative writing other than all the lies you tell all the time? Do you know anything about like doing anything original, or do you just have this little word bank and you just pull it out and you put your finger on one of the pages, and this is the thing that I'm going to write a nonsensical rant about this week, and you point out a few, and it's like a Mad Libs. There's got to be a Mad Libs of this shit. There's got to be a fucking like a little booklet, and it's like insert buzz phrase here, and then you get a Medium article.
Don't tell Frosted's method for writing these.
Yeah. I've actually written every article that we did on this stream.
It's kind of like it's like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Since first appearing in the iconic Dr. No in 1962, James Bond has become a cultural icon. There have been 26 James Bond films in all, and 59 years on, the franchise is still as going strong as ever. Is still as going as strong as ever.
Nice writing.
Yeah.
Editors, what do they do?
It seems we can't get enough of watching the Secret Service agent save the world time and again from supervillains. Yet when you break the character down, he is a symbol of a time gone by. So it's peculiar he remains such a popular cultural icon. On the one hand, Bond drives beautiful cars, travels the world, and has a pick of the world's most beautiful women. He's good-looking, sophisticated, and suave, but Bond also has a license to kill, something he uses all too frequently. It is that license to kill where we can start questioning the personality of Bond.
He's a Secret Service agent who's trying to save the world from like crazy madmen who have access to unimaginably powerful weapons. Yes, he's going to kill a few people to save the world. Sorry to burst your bubble.
But does he have to?
But extraordinary circumstances call for extraordinary action. I'm sorry. So, get a grip, bitch.
It is that license to kill where we can start questioning the personality of Bond. Up to the release of Skyfall, James Bond had killed 354 people on screen. Yet he shows no remorse or regret for having done so. You may
wait. You want the movie to be like James Bond? He goes on stream he goes on the movie and then shoots a guy and then like kneels down to pray beside him afterwards and then shows him like in a mental hospital, struggling with the emotional guilt of having killed someone every 340 fucking times. The movies would be 20 hours long a piece.
Jack, you're doing this all wrong. What he does is he finds the terrorist, calls the social worker, they work out the terrorist problems, then we all are happy because all cultures are beautiful.
I think there has to be one where just it ends with him going to the funeral of every henchman he kills.
That would be great. I would love that actually. That'd be
wipes out their families. Oh.
Now all cultures are beautiful is ACAB, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That's true.
You may argue the people Bond kills are the bad guys. If he didn't kill them, they would kill him. James Bond is often placed in kill or be killed situations, but the issue is he seems to take enjoyment from killing the bad guys. In Dr. No, Bond sends a car full of people off a cliff to their doom, commenting to a shocked onlooker, "I think they were on the way to a funeral."
You are describing every single action movie ever. Every single action movie features pithy one-liners whenever a bad guy dies. Every single one. Everyone, whether it's Sylvester Stallone or
Bruce Willis?
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, all of them feature pithy one-liners. Why the hell are you picking? Why are you picking on James Bond in particular? They all do. They literally all do it.
Well,
The guy's white, Jack.
I think this next part might answer that. Then there are the women. Bond has slept with 52 women on screen. Once he has,
Boom!
he either uses them for his own advantage or soon disposes of them.
American hero.
In
Well,
Goldfinger,
British.
yeah. In Goldfinger, he uses the head of the girl he's kissing to protect himself against an attack. Bond kills the attacker by electrocuting him in the bath, joking how shocking it is. Well, yeah, because the girl was on the bad guy's side, so she was a bad guy.
She was a fembot, clearly.
All women are good. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Rather than waiting to see if the now concussed girl is okay and thanking the women for having saved his life, Sean Connery walks out of the room with barely a glance.
Wow.
But the whole thing is that she can see the guy sneaking up on him, so he knows that she's with the bad guys.
Yeah, and he was already done with her, so why would he want to talk to her? He put the money on the end table, right?
Yeah. Just leave
done.
cab,
Transaction complete.
leave some cab fare and take off. Bond
Like
the
a steak weight?
Bond the sociopath. James Bond may well be brave and sophisticated, yet seen through a different lens. The lens of pleasure, perhaps? He is
The lens of buzzkill.
he is a
Buzz-
mass
The buzzkill.
Okay, motherfuckers, one at a time.
He said,
He is a mass-murdering, womanizing chauvinist. A thrill-seeker who cares little for the feelings of others. To top it off, he's an egomaniac with self-destructive tendencies. Bond ticks all the boxes of a sociopath. It makes you wonder, does Bond's desire to fight the evil villain stem from his wish to save the world, or is it through a desire to appease his ego? In GoldenEye, as Pierce Brosnan is set to let go of Alec Trevelyan's leg, played by Sean Bean, and send him to his doom, Bean asks, "For England, James?" "No," Bond replies, "for me." Well, yeah, because
they want to be consistent with the amount of movies that Sean Bean dies in every single fucking time.
yeah, and like Sean Bean was playing like his friend who ended up betraying him and being the bad guy. So
I will say this: GoldenEye is the only movie based on a video game that I actually liked.
yeah. I don't know. What about Super Mario Brothers?
The Super Mario
Checkmate.
Brothers movie is a good counterexample. I stand corrected.
Yeah.
The House of the Dead.
The great irony of the Bond franchise is that while James Bond is considered a sophisticated hero, he seems to have far more in common with the villains than he does with the people he's trying to save the villains from. Wait, trying to save the villains from? Do they mean trying to save from the villains?
I think they do. Yes.
No, they decolonized the sentence.
Yeah, yeah.
They decolonized grammar.
Bond
They decolonized intelligence.
Bond is no goody. This is a deeply troubled character. Yeah, I mean, some good characters are deeply troubled. So why does he remain relevant to younger generations? After all, the society we live in has changed radically since the 1960s, yet Bond has remained a mainstay. Bond is so popular because he's charming, brave, and courageous. Bond is like a knight in shining armor made for the modern day. That he is a womanizer who lives for the moment appeals to many who find an affinity for his reckless lifestyle. They dream of being a hero like Bond.
Right.
I think they dream of banging a lot of women like Bond.
Yeah. The issue with Bond is that he is a symbol of a culture that objectifies women while maintaining the sham of the brave knight. James Bond is a celebration of the patriarchy and the gender norms that we should be aiming to get rid of if we aspire for gender equality. The idea of Bond being a brave gentleman, glamorizes his womanizing and chauvinistic tendencies, resulting in young boys believing this kind of behavior and lack of respect for women is okay.
And it's not okay, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, it is glamorized to the point where it encourages young boys to maintain archaic attitudes towards women. When it was socially normalized for men to treat women like objects, Bond reflected that time. But do we want this type of character to remain culturally relevant?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Our cultural role models are an indicator of what is accepted socially. The fact James Bond still has popularity suggests that, while on the surface things have changed, the deep-rooted culture remains. Bond is still relevant 60 years after he first graced the big screen because he still reflects the dominant culture. While progress has been made in the fight for equality, as long as chauvinistic sociopaths remain cultural icons on the big screen, it will be a sign that not much has changed.
Until they make James Bond a black character.
Yeah.
That will fix everything.
Yeah.
That will fix
everything. Yep.
Unfortunately, I was just thinking of I think it was a AAA stream where they were talking about how they were thinking of making like a black woman James Bond or something. So they were coming up with like joke titles, and the one that I was the most proud of that I put in chat was The Spy Who Mugged Me.
Oh, no.
Well, obviously, we need to have a new one called Blackfinger.
No. Gold nigger.
Disavow.
I
Jesus
reavow.
H. Christ.
I reavow just to undo the
Reavow.
Unfortunately, James Bond is still marketable, and Hollywood can profit from him, so you imagine the franchise won't end anytime soon. The only way it will stop is if people make him irrelevant by not watching the movies. The time Bond is no more will be a sign that we are beginning to make real progress in changing cultural norms, leaving remnants of a time gone by in the past where they belong.
Well, I'm glad you set the bar so low by canceling something else. That's their one solution these days, isn't it? Is I don't like something, therefore it has no right to exist.
Now you're thinking the right way.
Indeed.
All right.
You haven't triggered Jack G enough tonight, Frosted. We need more.
Oh, come on. He's gotten me a couple times.
We've got a rant or two, you know. And there's still one more article left.
All right.
All right. But first, it's time for the final game of the night, which is for the chat and the chat alone. And that is the caption contest, where I will show a photo of a political figure or event, and the people in the chat have to come up with a caption for it. And whichever one we think is the funniest, I'll tweet out after the show. And here's this week's photo of the lovely Jen Psaki, or Saki, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Like nutsacky.
Yeah, I think it is just Saki is the pronunciation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's a complete fucking ditz. Have you ever seen her try to answer questions?
I know. All right, so
She thinks she's Kaylee McEnany too. So she tries to do the whole owning the conservatives thing, the way that Kaylee would sort of take shots at the press, but she's not good at it.
Yeah. McEnany would run circles around this fucking stupid bitch.
Because Kaylee was A, prepared, and B, didn't have to explain away bullshit. She actually realized that the things that Trump was being forced to answer for were ridiculous in nature.
Yeah.
Were inherently ridiculous. The things that what's her name, Saki a shit or whatever. has to answer for are inherently insane hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And you can't really answer away those things. So even if she tried, she wouldn't be able to.
McEnany
And
had
she can't. Oh, sorry.
McEnany had balls. This one's just a bitch.
Yeah.
There's a difference. All right.
So how was the sex change? Howdy doody.
Excuse me, I have the vagina. My
It
hair
was a debate. Sorry.
my hair color represents the ideology I'm pushing.
Doesn't she always answer the shit like, I'm gonna have to circle back with you on that one?
Yes.
I have to circle back to that because I don't have a good answer right now. Because I haven't had the time to make bullshit up. I mean, seriously, they have time to be able to answer these very basic questions. And just because they didn't manage to find a way to get the questions beforehand, like they asked for, they actually asked for these questions beforehand so they can have time to prep for them. No, they still find it. These questions are pretty obvious. There are pretty immediate and obvious questions that are going to get asked of you, and you should have answers. And the only reason that you don't have answers is not because you don't know you're about to get asked these questions. It's because A, you suck at your job, and B, you work for a shitty department.
I think Evil One in chat is right. We should call her Jen Bukaki. Let's see. Evolved Potato. Bang! Reporter shouting, "You just shot a man." Pasaki, we'll have to circle back to that. Next.
I'm waiting for them to take the word white out of the White House and just call it the House.
Yeah.
You know, because clearly the term the White House is racist.
Well, no, but then that would become cultural appropriation of Big Mama's house.
The greatest of black cinema. All right, I'll give another 20 seconds or so.
Where's her mask, by the way?
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh, I'm in top chat. I was just saying we don't seem to be getting very many suggestions.
Am I in top chat? I think I'm in live
Are you
chat.
trying to look up my skirt? You're leaning over real far.
Yep.
I think those are the only two, though. Oh no, they just haven't put caption in front of it. That's why.
Yeah.
So how is the sex change? Howdy doody from Kyla. Dark Resurrect says, "Excuse me, I have the vagina." Okay, so they have been. They just didn't label them. That's all.
Yeah. I'll have to start, enforcing that you put caption in front of it to make them easier to pick out. All right. So which ones do you guys think are the best?
Let's see.
Excuse me, I have the vagina.
I think Kyla is pretty good. How's the sex change? Howdy doody. Because
Well, I can see Dark Resurrect. Like if one of the journalists was like, they keep arguing, and she's like, "Excuse me, I have the vagina. I'm more important than you." Clearly.
yeah, I can see that. I'll go with Kyla.
All right. Let's see. Jack. Gunsky.
I'll circle back to that. Okay.
I'm gonna go with Dark Resurrects. Excuse me, I have the vagina. Only because there's like a male in the foreground, and she's looking at him like, "Excuse me, I have the vagina. I'm more important than what you have to say."
Yeah, I think I might agree. I think I'll go with Dark Resurrect. All right, and the two Jacks.
Honestly, not a strong showing this week. I'm just gonna say whatever Terry's was.
I'm
Kyla.
surprised you didn't abstain, Jack.
All right, so I think Jack Cochran will be the tiebreaker.
I have to go with Dark Resurrects as well. Because that sounds like something that bitch would say.
Now, is she a true redhead or a fake redhead?
I don't know.
Her eyebrows are pretty red, so
Yeah.
usually you could go by the eyebrows.
That's true.
she's one of those ones that gives redheads a bad name.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
wait, I wasn't on live chat. I must have missed half the options. I was on the stupid automatic top chat because
You've
fuck
already
YouTube.
voted. No. You've already voted.
What do you think? You're in Georgia?
Yeah,
You only get one vote, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, I have dead relatives too.
Oh, okay, then.
All right, so I think that makes this week's winner Dark Resurrect.
Yep.
So I'll just copy that down so I can tweet it out later.
Excuse me. I have a vagina.
Yeah, what was that question where like she just out of nowhere pointed out that one of their secretaries was a woman for no particular reason?
Oh my god.
God, I forget. I remember that was a bad one too because it was like a really important question, and she just like, we have a female person in charge of that. And I was just like, lady, fuck you to infinity.
I do have to ask though, has anybody actually seen Biden do anything other than those stupid fucking recorded pictures of him signing executive order after executive order?
I don't know. It's
He
in the
he was
basement somewhere.
he was on the cover of GQ.
Are you shitting me?
Moon, it's difficult
Look
to
it up.
schedule. It's difficult to schedule time with the puppeteer when he's not on Sesame Street. So for somebody to get back there and get under the desk and control him, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, he was on the cover of GQ, Geriatric Quarterly.
No, you gotta see this picture. This is the most. This is like Stalin level propaganda bullshit.
I gotta look this shit up, man.
Look up GQ Biden and just look at Google image search. It's ridiculous. He's wearing like this country outfit getup. Dude hasn't ever seen country anything in
Oh
his life.
my god. Is that him with a fucking guitar sitting down and
Yes.
GQ hype attack the week?
It looks like it looks like overt Soviet, well, not Soviet, but I mean it's in the same vein though of propaganda so incredibly overt that it just looks like someone's trying to sell you some bullshit.
Swagger in chief.
Yeah, Joe Biden does not have swagger.
It's also trying to bank on the whole number 45 that Trump had. It says number 46 gets our big fit makeover.
It's more of a shuffle than a swagger.
Yeah, it's the kind of swagger you correct by having him use a walker.
Yeah.
I had to say, in that addled brain of his, what is he even thinking anymore? Is he even thinking at all?
I don't know. He's down in the White House basement just watching Matlock for the next couple years.
Not on purpose. He just got lost and he's been down there for like a week.
Yeah.
He's still in the catacombs trying to find his way around.
Yeah, he's hanging out with the maintenance guy and he's like, this place is pretty cool. And the maintenance guy's like, see?
All right. And now it's time for the final article of the night. Star Wars made us unprepared for fascism.
Oh, I knew you were going to pick this one.
The galaxy far, far away set the bar too high for evil.
Did it?
At the core of the decades-spanning space opera Star Wars sits a cosmic battle between the light and the dark side of the Force, the latter of which is led by the evil Sith who have terrorized the galaxy in their pursuit of total conquest. Sith, like Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine, and Kylo Ren, have captivated the popular imagination as ciphers for absolute evil. We have watched in cruel fascination as these men have demonstrated what being the worst truly means. Staging master plans laid out months, if not decades in advance, only for them to be undone at the last possible moment. However, these examples have had the unfortunate effect of setting the bar too high for our conception of evil, and conversely too low for good's triumph against it. While some people undoubtedly fit inside the Scythian mold quite comfortably, i.e., that of a sociopathic murderer who outlines every second of their master plan years beforehand, evil often is done by incompetent showmen inflicting untold harm as they go. They lie, cheat, and steal without any cackling monologues or chess master finesse, all with unearned privilege, bravado, and a smile.
What,
Well,
we talk about Hillary?
I do think there's a grain of truth to this in that people think movies are real because they're idiots. And so they think that when, like, communism, for instance, they think they're going to be like, okay, we are now doing communism. We are invading, like, it's going to be like, they don't see the gradual increase of, indoctrination and subversion and all that shit. So I do think there is a grain of truth in that people taking movie villainy as the benchmark for real life villainy does cause problems. I think they're probably going to go somewhere extremely stupid with this, but I can understand the point that they're trying to make.
Just gonna skip ahead a little to save time. The picture we have of Palpatine is that of the perfect manipulator. He rose to power by creating a series of galactic incidents, e.g., an armed trade dispute over the planet of Naboo, an intergalactic civil war, etc., that he secretly orchestrated behind the scenes while serving in the Galactic Senate. Yeah, but they're leaving out the part that, like, everyone he was scheming, like, behind the backs of were incredibly stupid. Because, like, it should have been really easy to find him out, but, like, the good guys were just incredibly stupid. He somehow managed to mobilize hundreds of systems into open rebellion without anyone ever being the wiser about his involvement. He then sidelined these former allies at the first available opportunity to declare martial law within the Galactic Republic and became emperor. He accomplishes all these evil machinations while serving in one of the galaxy's most powerful and scrutinized institutions, and again, very few people walk away with a thorough understanding of what happens until years after the fact. All his enemies are either co-opted, exiled, or killed by the time the prequel trilogy comes to a close. His power is so cemented that the Galactic Senate dissolves at the start of the original movie A New Hope. In pop culture, there's a name for this trope, the chess master. The designation is in reference to how chess is often used as a visual shorthand in film and television to convey the cunning, yada yada yada. Alright, skip ahead a little bit.
I think Frosted is getting more annoyed at the article than the people is trying to
I just want to, like, get to the where they talk about the point rather than summarizing these movies and stuff like that.
Wait, there's a point too?
Let's see. We tend to retrospectively do this with real-world people as well. It's typical for people to argue that historical figures, even terrible ones such as Joseph Stalin or Adolf Hitler, grew to prominence because of their political genius. Part of this has to do with the intense propaganda machines they led during the height of their power. Stalin and Hitler were both built up into almost Superman-like figures by their people, yet that narrative found itself even in outlets beyond their control. As Professor Frederick C. Barghorn wrote of the former Soviet leader in their 1953 New York Times article, What It Takes to Be a Stalin, Stalin's role as political intrigue and boss is well known. He was able to crush opposition both in high party circles and among the masses because he was a brilliant and ruthless totalitarian politician. This means that he knew how at any given time to command the loyalty of the party and the state bureaucracy, and to avoid pushing the masses so far that the morale and cohesion of the ruling apparatus might be seriously affected. To this day, we still see people praise the genius of dictators such as Stalin or Hitler, even as they decry the horrors they committed. When, for example, the blog LeadershipGeeks.com penned an article on what could be learned from Hitler's leadership style, they focused on the positive lessons you could emulate from him. saying Hitler was a captivating public speaker. He would enrapture crowds with his vision and sense of purpose of the nation. His words moved a country, even the church, to believe that they were killing in the name of God. That was the extent of his charisma. Let's see. In truth, real fascism does not work like the Galactic Empire. It cannot come about because of the manipulations of a single individual, or even a group of individuals, but rather because an in-group has been given the social permission to enact beliefs they already have. Fascism is a group sport.
Right.
Shirts versus no shirts.
Yes. Well, under communism, you can't really afford shirts. When we look at men like Hitler, the trauma they helped cause was so terrible that it understandably left a scar on the public imagination. Hitler's name, and really Nazism in general, has become a sort of boogeyman used to personify the worst kinds of evil.
Nah, he was all right.
Yeah. Alright. Then they talk about Hitler in pop culture. Let's see.
But my dad had a friend who like legitimately thought that Hitler was the greatest man who ever lived.
Alright.
Like, well, he was a German guy. Like, he's an old German guy, and so he grew up during the war, and he's like, Hitler was the greatest man who ever lived. And if and if anyone said, what would have happened if you guys won the war? He goes, it would be exactly the same, except I would be your boss.
He sounds like a fun guy. From this lens, it's sometimes difficult to remember that fascist leaders were real people unable to foresee all the events that brought them fully to power. They may have made plans intended to last decades only for them to fall apart spectacularly in real life. Hitler's first major grab for power, for example, was a failure. When the Nazi Party attempted a coup in 1923 in the German province of Bavaria, it was ultimately foiled by the region's military forces. He would eventually gain power through political means and force, but that didn't mean his regime was flawless. He had an almost childish demeanor with an overly inflated sense of self. He did not respond to feedback well, which caused him to make strategically poor decisions, most infamously the invasion of the Soviet Union. Trump also fell into this category,
Of course.
especially during the earlier parts of his first term, when many people tried to paint him as a master manipulator. It was common for detractors to warn us not to get distracted by his antics, and instead be on the lookout for what he really intended. Debates were waged in columns across America, and on whether he was figurative or literal with his words. It took months and in some cases years for people to realize that there was no higher point to his rhetoric. There was only ever what he wanted at the moment.
Or maybe you guys are just idiots and don't realize that the man speaks with lots of rhetorical flourishes and instead took everything literal because you were fishing for Hitler when what you actually got was totally benign by comparison.
I like the phrase fishing for Hitler. The rebranding of fascist leaders as brilliant chess masters ignores the fact that some authoritarians lack political finesse. It also ignores how their hold on power relies initially on support from the larger populace. Authoritarians certainly use violence to grab and maintain power, but they also try to convince their followers that all problems can be solved by worshipping a single authoritarian figure. They can also achieve their nonsensical aims when the greater population passively accepts it. Let's see. Talk about some essay.
Just skipping.
Let's see. Star Wars is a brand where fascism is a core facet of its mythos, e.g. the Sith, the Empire, the First Order, etc. But somehow it has villains so far removed from our empathic understanding that it's possible as an audience member to walk away not really understanding how fascism works.
Well, it's not really supposed to be an educational movie on
Yeah.
the mechanics of fascist dictatorships. It's it's a space opera.
I'm just imagining, excuse me, but the people in our audience tonight might not understand what fascism is. So we brought in this historian over here to
Well-
explain to all of you in great detail the historical implications of fascism before you continue to watch our space movie with guns and stuff.
I will accept it on the sole condition that the historian meets the same fate as the one in Holy Grail.
Oh yeah, kills them halfway through. Yeah.
No, it's all completely accurate. When Hitler rose to power, he used the Force to cloud the minds of the Jedi Council, and
Yeah.
that helped him, become Chancellor.
Fact.
Yeah.
Fact.
Snope says fact check true.
No, this is no survey. This is misleading.
Well, technically true.
Yeah.
While the expanded universe, now Star Wars Legends, has some works that examine the propaganda and anti-alien xenophobia that helped give rise to the Empire, see the Thrawn trilogy and the video game Knights of the Old Republic, most of the films are a simplistic battle between good and evil. Emperor Palpatine's cruelty can be witnessed within a vacuum, never challenging viewers to seriously comprehend how they might fall within the equation. This failure to truly contextualize fascism affects how a lot of fans perceive the work itself. A quick search online reveals dozens of articles and videos of fans claiming that the Empire was actually right all along, because it provided stability to the galaxy.
This is another... Sorry.
Go ahead.
This is another thing that bothers me about these people who write. They have very specific expectations of movies, and because people do not fit their very, very specific expectations, all of a sudden it's the movie's mistake. Like as if the person because George Lucas was not literally inhabiting the mind of this person in order to write his movie, then George Lucas is a bad person somehow for not reading this person's mind. They do realize that different people have different consciousness, right?
No. And also, obviously, A New Hope was written to be George Lucas's Mein Kampf.
Yeah. This is obviously a bad take. The Death Star destroyed nearly 2 billion people when it blew up the planet Alderaan in A New Hope. Maybe the author is not genuine. The internet is filled with so much irony and meta-humor that it's sometimes difficult to tell if someone is serious. Still,
kind of like this article.
Still, there are so many videos on this subject it speaks to the failure of the text itself. The franchise failed to delineate between what is and what is not fascism so much that an entire subgenre of videos has sprung up arguing that the text validates the very thing it appears to be disproving, that fascism is bad. Star Wars is not the only franchise that has this issue. The MCU stumbled into the same problem with intergalactic space tyrant Thanos. As with Emperor Palpatine, Thanos is also portrayed as a manipulative chess master hell-bent on dominating the galaxy. In this case, he works behind the scenes of all the movies to gather magical infinity stones with the power to rewrite reality. His ultimate plan is to randomly wipe out half of all sentient life in the galaxy. Let's see. Okay, then they sum up Infinity War. Unlike with real fascism, the galaxy is a spectator in his horrors, not a participant. As with Star Wars, this refusal to take a hard stance ultimately made Thanos' brand of meritocratic Malthusianism sympathetic to many viewers. His simplistic authoritarian solution was not called out in a way that would challenge viewers' assumptions. Hashtag Thanos was right flooded Twitter and other social media shortly after the film's release.
Wait. So the movie made Thanos gave him a possibly relatable motive that is still simultaneously known to be horrible, and they're accusing the movie of not challenging people.
Yeah. See, making him slightly sympathetic is the same as defending Hitler.
Yeah,
It-
that's
Jesus
true.
fucking Christ.
It's pretty cut and dry, you know.
I think Jack's just not very smart, Frosted. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I'm obviously I am too dumb for this author.
Correct.
And I love how they don't account for the idea that, you know, people were putting Thanos was right as a joke.
Oh, there's no such thing as jokes on Twitter.
Yeah.
Everyone on Twitter is completely serious 100% of the time.
Soon we had a bunch of bad hot takes espousing the very ideology that a responsible movie would have taken the time to disprove. As J.V. Chamery wrote in Forbes in his article The Science of Avengers Endgame, proves Thanos did nothing wrong. The Avengers are guilty of putting the grief of survivors above the health of our world. From the planet's point of view, it's the superheroes who are the bad guys. Reversing Thanos' actions is a selfish endeavor. Overpopulation's contribution to climate change is a contentious idea that has been hotly debated elsewhere. Yeah, we don't care about climate change. Let's see.
We don't care about climate change. He just made that statement arbitrarily, and we don't care about climate change.
Well,
Is he wrong?
No.
The way I see it, either I'll die before the planet does, or it'll be at the same time.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless of course you can like build an escape pod.
Well,
In
none
which
of you
case-
people will exist when I die anyway. So
So saith Tom Lehrer, we will all go together when we go.
Well, I think that's we've all got to take a drink because that's one of the Minions drinking game rules. Is anytime someone mentions Tom Lehrer, got to take a drink.
On the Minions.
I don't think that matters. I think the rules apply across the board.
Well, I just took a drink. If it makes you feel better.
I'll take a drink.
I don't even know who we're talking about, and I'm going to take a drink.
Yeah.
Never heard of Tom Lehrer?
The McNeil Letter Hour on PBS.
No, he used to do like satirical songs back in what was it, like the 60s or something?
Yeah.
Nope,
National
doesn't sound
Brotherhood
familiar.
Week. National Brotherhood Week is probably the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he's also the guy that sang the periodic table to the tune of Modern Major General.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've probably heard several of his songs and not known it.
The movie never bothers to have this debate, though. When the second part of the Thanos saga, Avengers Endgame, aired in April of 2019, the film attempted to disprove the tyrant's plan by demonstrating the tragedy of all the lives lost, not by tearing apart the fascist ideology Thanos represented.
Oh my god.
So after he
They-
wipes out half of life, the movie has to still, prove that he's bad.
They have to prove that trying to murder a bunch of people is a bad thing. I'm sorry, but if that's not self-evident, then I don't know. There's no helping you. And you want to know what? What?
I think you're making stuff up. Since when is killing a bunch of people bad?
Yeah.
Well, it depends. Are they Trump supporters?
Yeah.
That is an excellent point. I will give you that.
God, I was gonna kill all these people, but then somebody in Avengers Endgame said that murder is wrong, and now I don't want to kill people anymore.
They could have helped so many people.
I know.
As with Alderaan's destruction, the snap became divorced from its totalitarian ideology to represent a bad viewers would consume without getting uncomfortable. So, like, what was Thanos's, like, fascism, by the way? Like, I don't remember Thanos having like some fascist ideology.
He didn't. Fascism would mean Thanos would take over the planet. He doesn't take over the planet. He kills a bunch of people, then he goes to live on a farm.
Yeah, like he wasn't really fascist. He just like had an army.
Sounds more like, yeah, it sounds more like an environment.
Yeah.
That really does sound like one, doesn't he?
Some works do put viewers in that place of unease, but they are usually Oscar bait and indie films, not pop culture hits. The last major time Star Wars attempted to be pointed in its commentary was The Last Jedi, which was arguably a meta-commentary on the Star Wars fandom's toxic masculinity.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
See,
Oh my
if
I
Star
just
Wars,
point out,
see if Star Wars had
there's a
made it, damn it! All right, I'll go first. See if Star Wars had just made its point clearer, it could have been as good as The Last Jedi.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
These people have zero sense of perspective. Zero. They are incapable of understanding anything at all. They have no critical reasoning skills. They're critical. It's almost as if aliens from another planet came to watch people debate, but they didn't actually learn the language, so they just started trying to mimic the debate to the best of their ability, and this is what they came up with.
They're undocumented. They're not aliens.
It sounds like they're thinking.
Their
Except
thinking
if
is
you-
decolonized, you bigot.
Yeah. But if you actually think about what it is they're saying for more than like 1 second, then you realize it's total gobbledygook. It's garbage.
This film was not idly consumed, but instead was widely polarizing among viewers. It became a topic of intense debate precisely because you knew it was trying to say something. No, it wasn't that. It was just a shitty movie. All right.
Yeah.
Conversely, Emperor Palpatine's ideology is too vague and amorphous to be rejected. We don't understand what the Emperor really wants other than power itself, and because that power has not seriously been scrutinized by the text, merely the person holding it, the person doesn't have to question their political beliefs. Much of our media...
So?
Yeah, you're supposed to be questioning your political beliefs while watching Star Wars, Jack.
No. I'm good.
Only truly great films like The Last Jedi do that.
Yeah.
God, I love that Last Jedi movie.
It made me question my politics. Much of our media has made people think they understand fascism, when really they are more familiar with a caricature of fascism, that of an all-knowing evil chess master who manipulates people into doing things that they don't really want to do from behind the scenes.
I don't think you understand fascism at all. Tell these people, they keep saying fascism. What is fascism?
They
What
come
do
from
you
the-
what do you think the definition of fascism is?
They
Yeah,
come from the
frosted.
Democrat school of fascism.
Yeah, like Thanos and Stalin are not fascist. Not every like dictator or person who kills a lot of people is fascist.
Hate
No,
fact.
fascism is defined as disagreeing with the political left. That's it.
Yeah. This type of storytelling does not seek to challenge the viewer's complicity in that evil, which is why so many people can comfortably wrap themselves in Stormtrooper or Thanos paraphernalia without ever feeling awkward. It's not bad for a film to talk about fascism. Art reflects life, so artists would inevitably want to talk about an issue so pressing to human culture. This ideology is worth talking about, but a lot of media is employing an overly simplistic understanding of it, one where the viewer is always blameless. Okay. In real life, people are not tricked into following fascist leaders such as Adolf Hitler or Donald Trump. They follow those monsters willing. I think they mean willingly.
But also, they snuck in that Trump is a fascist.
Yeah. And while we can debate the reasons surrounding those decisions, we must not compartmentalize that evil into something only evil masterminds can accomplish. It is sadly not hard to get people to abandon everything in pursuit of hatred. If we want to prepare people for how to avoid the next fascist regime, then we need media that explores how everyday people can fall to the dark side too. Responsible media is not afraid to make its viewers defensive over their capacity to inflict harm, especially when...
I for one agree. I agree. We should make sure that people know how they can fall into very dangerous and evil ideologies, like socialism.
No, fascism.
Are we going to explain to people how they can fall to evil ideologies like socialism?
No, Stalin was a fascist. The articles told us.
And it's called college.
I just said I do wish Jack would pay attention to the articles. They're very clear in what they're saying.
Yeah, we're trying to teach you, Jack, but you just won't learn.
Right? And besides, socialism is taught in college.
Yeah.
So it must be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Responsible media is not afraid to make its viewers defensive over their capacity to inflict harm, especially when discussing one of the darkest ideologies in human history. It brings them into the text and does not let them look away. So there you go.
The quiet says it all.
See, I think the producers did a better job of that, where the don't be stupid, be a smarty, come and join the Nazi party. See, that made the viewers think that they can also do atrocities, and it really made them question themselves.
And it also made them realize that M&Ms are terrible and that Smarties are the superior brand.
That's true.
No, everybody knows that Sixlets are the best.
Oh, God.
It's time to put Rolos or Tootsie Rolls in the camps. That's what I learned.
We have to
God,
figure
don't
out
even
which
remind me of
candy is
Sixlets.
fascist.
Oh, Sixlets are so disgusting.
No, they're not. They're better than M&Ms. Although the crisp, although the crispy M&Ms are very good. I don't know if they make them.
So what are these? What are these things that Frosted likes? What are they called?
Sixlets.
Sixlets. Sixlets. They're like a ghetto man's M&Ms.
They are not.
Oh yeah, I didn't know what these were at first, but I just looked them up. Those are ghetto M&Ms.
They're delicious.
I like how Frosted gives that tone of offense that would suggest that he knows exactly what you mean.
Yeah, they're made with that's gutter food, man. That's like stuff you'd give the kid you hated in school for Valentine's Day. You know, like, oh, you got to give candy to everybody. Okay, well, I'll give the good stuff to my friends, and that shithead that smells funny can have the Sixlets.
They're superior to M&Ms.
Yeah,
They're the
Necco
master
wafers
race.
don't taste like cardboard.
In the ghetto.
Oh, man. Oh, gross.
How about this? How about you just eat regular chocolate like a normal human being?
Because Sixlets are better.
Oh, God. Ghetto M&Ms, man. I tell you.
Evolved Potato says Smarties are better than M&M's. Fact. No.
Smarties
Fact
are okay
check
at best.
false.
They're okay at best.
They're the slightly better version of Necco wafers.
No, Smarties are way better than Necco wafers. I'm not saying they're tarts are 3 level of good, but they're better than Necco wafers. Necco wafers
I
are,
said they're better than Necco wafers.
yeah, they're a lot better than Necco wafers. Necco wafers are the plastic that they had on the machine that would come off, and they just threw some confectionery powder on it and called it a candy. It's like drywall.
As long as we can all agree that circus peanuts are shit.
Oh well, see, I just got the answer. Sixlets are they're actually made by a company based out of Canada, so they're the Canadian M&Ms.
that explains it. I don't even remember what circus peanuts even taste like. They could be shit, and I wouldn't even know.
Oh, they're disgusting.
Go to the gym, find a pair of sneakers, and lick them.
I think circus peanuts are like exclusively sold at gas stations.
Gas stations and old people's houses. They're right there. And it's for when old people run out of the Werther's original. They throw out the circus peanuts. That's like when the grandkids they don't like are coming over.
Yeah.
Like, here's some circus peanuts. They never go bad.
I think they're the styrofoam peanuts, but they're like covered it. They want to repurpose them for children, and so they just coat them in like a layer of crappy sugar, and that's what a circus peanut is.
Now it's like if you take a Dr. Scholl's pad and shape it into a peanut. That's what they are.
Yeah. And you've never gotten them in a circus. You know why? Because clowns keep them to give to the kids they kidnap. That's why.
Yeah.
Someone opened up their beanbag chair and said, these are really tasty.
Yeah, circus peanuts are like roofies for clowns.
Yeah.
Aren't those
absolutely.
nasty ass big old puffy orange things that make them look like peanuts, but they're disgusting instead?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that? Oh god, yeah. Oh, and I also looked up the same company that makes Sixlets also make another candy called Fivesomes.
No.
Fivesomes Fivesomes.
So is this some sort of weird orgy thing that this company is into?
Apparently so.
What happens in Ottawa stays in Ottawa.
It's a gangbang of flavor.
Yeah.
That one needs to be cut. It's a gangbang of flavor.
It needs to be said by Trudeau wearing blackface, though.
Yes.
What's the result of that Fivesome? Sixlets. Well, the Fivesomes were actually a miniature version of Whoppers, which were those malt ball thingies covered in chocolate.
Evolved Potato says that I think we're talking about different Smarties. The one I'm talking about is chocolate. Yeah, in America, Smarties aren't they're a little tiny roll of like a sweet. They're like sweet tarts, but they're chalkier.
Okay,
That's
so
gross.
in Australia, a Smartie is the same as it's a different brand, but it's the same idea as an M&M. It's basically the same thing.
Well, yeah, but you also call sprinkles hundreds of thousands, so I think
related
there's
to
a little bit of
shapes?
a problem there.
Are they related to
Yeah,
shapes?
I'm looking at your generic ass Smarties M&M's things right now, and yeah, M&M's should sue them.
What, Smarties?
Yeah,
Or
they're the fake M&M's called Smarties. The Smarties we have here are a much different candy.
Can I just say, this is what I wanted out of a talk show? Talk like this and not about Medium articles.
And why did you agree to do this show?
I don't know.
He was blackmailed. He had to.
Are you saying there's a problem with blackmails from Moonshock?
Frosted has me under contract. If I try and escape, I'll owe him $30,000.
That's right.
Shit. So you get paid nothing, but if you leave, you owe me $30,000.
I gave him a circus peanut, and when he woke up, the contract was signed.
What was in that peanut?
All right. Well, that's all I had for this week, gentlemen. So,
Thank God.
so I'd like to shill my co-hosts. Jack Gunsky has Quippers United on Sundays at 7 p.m. EST over on his channel. Let's see. Moonshock has a new Twitch channel where he's streaming not Super Seducer.
No,
Well, you can't anymore. It'll never happen.
no. The first 2 games are still on Steam. You could stream either of those, but the third one has been rejected.
Well, these days I'm let's see, I stopped streaming 7 days. I put that aside. Now I'm streaming Grounded for the moment. And I'm up to 42 followers, and I'm over the 3.0 average viewer threshold. So I'm like this close to affiliate. I just need more people out there. And my Twitch channel is going to be, it's Nighthaven, NYTEHAVEN, if anybody wants to go and follow.
Yeah,
I mean, Scribe follows. Scribe's one to follow her.
And the link should be in the description.
Yes.
Let's see. Terry Diamantis is on this, Quippers United. Let's see. Minions of the Zoo on Delahaye's Nights. Johnny Hellcat streams, I think.
Yep, that's it.
All right. And let's see. Jack Cochran, anything you want to shill?
I'll drop a link to my channel. Yeah, that's about it. I'm on Monkey in the Morning most of the time. You guys all know that.
Yeah. Are there any comic
Tell
book
us more of
curations
this,
coming up?
Not that I know of. I don't know what's going on yet. So,
No. All right.
Tell us more of this Monkey in the Morning. This is the first time hearing of it.
oh well, it's on Ranting Monkey's channel, and it's just us talking
It
shit.
sounds fascinating. I'll have to make time and watch it.
Does he?
Yes,
pay
you
in,
should. You should.
Does he pay you in sixlets?
He doesn't pay me.
All right. And let's see. So, yeah, we'll be on next week, the same time. I don't have the guest down for sure yet. Still working on it. But yeah. So, like, let's give my co-host a chance to say goodbye. Jack Gunsky.
Somebody save me, please.
No one's gonna save you. Moon,
Have a good night, everybody.
Terry.
I cannot save you. I can't even save myself.
And a special guest, Jack Cochran.
I would save you guys, but it sounds like a lot of work. So have a good night.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Good night.
Night all.
Bye.
Nice.